Welcome to the Real Life Wellness Podcast, the show where we explore how to create your own wellness. We dive into everything that happens on the journey to a happier, healthier, and more balanced life. I'm your host, Faith Lauterbach. As a registered nurse and a holistic wellness coach, I have a passion for empowering people to create a vision for their life, prioritize themselves, and then live the life they want. So get ready to discover new ways to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. Let's embark on this journey together and make wellness simple. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Today's episode is one that's close to home for me. Maybe you'll be able to relate to it as well. And I want you to know, if you do, you're not alone in this. Episode 27 is The Cost of Being Nice, Healing from People Pleasing. All right, I want to begin by saying I'm not a therapist. As always, I'm speaking from my own experiences in the hope that it might help someone else out there too. So just remember that as I'm talking about these things. And first, I want to share a quote that I recently saw on Instagram. It said, "People pleasers have to reckon with the deep feelings of resentment they bury when they abandon themselves in order to maintain connection with other people." All right, I feel like that's worth taking a deep breath in and thinking about that. Maybe you resonate with that. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now. Showing up with a smile, nodding along, saying yes when everything inside of you is whispering no. And maybe you're wondering why you feel so tired all the time, so unseen. Well, I've been there many times, and it's still something that I have to be intentional about not to fall into. It's easy to feel like love is earned by being agreeable, by not rocking the boat, and by being there for everyone else. To be fearful that connection with others only comes if we shrink ourselves to fit inside their expectation. And here's the thing, people-pleasing often starts from love, from empathy, with a deep desire to keep peace, to avoid pain, and to feel safe. But over time, it becomes a pattern of self-abandonment. We trade our truth for temporary approval. We silence our needs to make space for someone else's comfort. And then we tell ourselves that it's no big deal, that we're just being nice, in quotes. But it is a big deal because every time we do this, we leave ourselves. And slowly that cost becomes too much. Often the people we are quote unquote pleasing don't even know that this is happening. They don't know what we aren't saying. And that's where the resentment lives. It's not just frustration at others. It's really grief. It's grief for all the parts of ourselves we've muted, all the truths that we've swallowed. It's the ache of knowing that people love us, but maybe not really us, just this version we've curated to keep things smooth. And honestly, that's not true connection. That's survival. True connection requires honesty. It requires boundaries. And it requires us to show up who we actually are, not who we think others need us to be. I don't know. That's a lot. And if this is something that you live with in your life, then you may be feeling like you need to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You do not have to be everything for everyone. You do not have to abandon yourself to belong. And the people who are meant for you will never require you to disappear. So here's what I've learned. Healing from people pleasing isn't about becoming hard or cold or selfish. It's about reclaiming your right to have needs, to take up space, and to say, this is what's true for me. I'm not telling you it's easy, especially if you've been the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the strong one your whole life. But it's possible to start making changes, and it's powerful. So here are a few things that help me, that have helped me as I've been on this journey for years. Maybe they'll help you too. The first one is pause before the yes. This is so helpful and also so simple. But if someone asks you for your time, your energy, your agreement, give yourself space to check in. What do you really want? Get used to saying, let me think about that and get back to you. And then really take the time to think about what saying yes will really look like in your life. The second thing is notice resentment. That low, simmering irritation is a clue. It means you've said yes to something that your soul wanted to say no to. And again, most times the person we are pleasing doesn't know that we don't want to do what they've asked us, especially when so many times we have said yes to something similar and have never said a word otherwise. But that resentment is such a big clue to what and when we're abandoning ourselves. All right, number 3 is don't over-explain. Keep it simple. I know for me, when I think I'm going to disappoint someone, I talk a lot. I want them to be okay with me saying no. I want their approval. And so I think if I say all the things, I will get that. But keeping it simple is actually so much easier and also makes it clear and less confusing for someone else. So try something like this. Actually, I need a moment to think about that. Or, I'm not available for that right now. Or, that doesn't work for me. All of those are complete sentences and don't need further explanation. It can feel scary, but just like anything, the more you do this, the easier it will feel. So work on, I know for me, keeping it simple and not over-explaining everything. Number 4 is learning that someone else's discomfort isn't yours to fix. I used to always think that if I did something that made someone uncomfortable, that it was my responsibility to manage their feelings. If you have said yes to everything that comes your way, people will be confused at first when you start saying no. You will disappoint people, but what starts happening is that you stop disappointing yourself. And when you do this over time, there is something really beautiful that changes inside of you. Your self-worth grows, and knowing that you are loved for you. So all of these things are things that I am continually working on myself, but this managing other people's feelings and experience has been a big one. If I see someone's uncomfortable, I really feel like it's my job to help make them comfortable, to help make their experience better. And so this can be tricky if you feel like that's something you have a challenge with too, is being okay with disappointing people. And I'm not saying like being mean to people, like that's not what I'm saying, but making a choice that's best for you might not always be what's best for others. And sitting in discomfort and knowing that just because somebody else is not happy with your choice doesn't mean that you made the wrong choice. It usually means you made the right choice if it's this learning process of undoing people pleasing. All right. So you are allowed to be whole. You are allowed to have limits, and you are worthy of love not for how well you perform, not for how well you please others, but simply because you're you. Let me say that again. You are worthy of love. And that's not tied to how much you say yes to others. So this journey, again, is one that I've been on for many years, and it's still something I have to come back to and be intentional. And it's definitely going to feel unfamiliar if you're new to this. And it might feel a little lonely. The things that you have relied on getting you props for and being the one people can always turn to, letting go of that identity can feel lonely. But I promise you, there's a deep freedom waiting on the other side of that. The kind of connection that doesn't cost you your peace, and the kind of love that sees all of you and still stays. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for being willing to reflect, honoring the parts of you that are ready to be heard. You're not alone, and I'm proud of you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You're learning a new way of being, and that is sacred work. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Real Life Wellness Podcast. To stay updated on my latest episodes and wellness insights, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow me on social media. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to explore, feel free to reach out. I love hearing from you. If you could, please review or rate this podcast on Apple or Spotify to help more people learn how to make wellness simple.